and welcome to Queer Abbey, the weekly chat show that is performed, recorded, and produced by yours truly. Wow. Welcome to the 52nd episode of Queer Abbey. Now, if we do an episode every single week, and there's 52 weeks in a year, now what the hell does that mean? How's the mathin' on this one? That must mean that we're coming up on a year of doing this podcast. Mama, can you believe it? I can, because I do it every single week. But I really have been enjoying it. This is like my journal / little publication of music and nonsense and advice. And I really enjoy that. I love having this little channel to sort of speak out into the void and to share really cool artwork with all of you. So thank you for being here with me for almost a year now. I think June 1st will literally be like the 1 year anniversary. And also, it's very significant for me, this time frame, because it coincides with the time that I started physically transitioning or whatever, medically transitioning. I've always been the person that I am, but that was a time that I decided to kind of take my life and my body into my own hands, which feels more and more controversial as I continue. The administration that we're under right now is cutting the Medicaid coverage for trans healthcare, or maybe it's Medicare. I can't recall which one, but the federal funding that is supplied so that people can get healthcare for free through their state insurance. And that's tough. That's certainly not good for adults and for children. And just the general attitude about transgendered people, the transgenders, it's just not great. But so be it. I certainly felt like I spent a lot of my life living and trying to be, this is so cliche, but like what I thought other people wanted me to be, which was like not trans, like maybe just something else that was like easier to explain, or maybe not even easier to explain, but like I always tried to be enigmatic or funny or entertaining for people. And I've realized that I can just be a whole person, you know, like I don't have to be something that is in response to another person's emotions. You know, I don't have to be something that is in response to another person's desires. I can just stand alone as this individual thing, and I can make whatever choices I want, whatever the consequences may be. I'm allowed to discern things for myself, and it feels really good to make that decision for yourself. And I guess it sort of just coincides with me deciding to make this medical decision, and it's been amazing to watch like changes happen emotionally and physically that kind of feel like they align with my desires in life and things that feel good to me. And yeah, it's been a very mystical experience for sure. And aligning is a good word for it. Like I feel emotionally aligned because I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like before I had more estrogen in my life, I guess is a funny way to put it. I wasn't like angry at the world all the time. I wasn't particularly like extremely unhappy or anything. I did just kind of feel like something was missing maybe. And I certainly feel like I was in denial about being trans or wanting to explore that side of myself, because nothing is black and white. I mean, like I said, I'm just the same person that I've always been, but there was something subconscious that I kind of kept locked away for a while because I thought that that's what would be best. You know, I thought that would be best for me. I thought that would be best for other people. And it turns out it's not. It turns out it's actually best to do whatever is inside of your heart, you know, and it's sometimes really difficult to interface with that. Well, that was a little bit heartfelt. Let's get into some like a little bit more lighthearted business type stuff. Going through the, what do they call that in meetings and stuff? Like the something updates. Oh, well, software update. That's what we're going to call it today. So I'm going to graduate. I'm graduating college also. There's just so many good things happening in my life right now. And I feel really grateful to be able to say that I am graduating school, and I'm feeling really proud of myself for all of the work that I've done and the culmination of skills that I've learned and that I'm coming away with. I've made a lot of really cool connections recently, and made lovely friends at work and outside of work through school, and it shows. Yeah, I feel like there's a lovely prospective future for me. And all I have to do is just go out the door and go keep chasing it, you know? And that's a great spot to be in, I feel, when I'm graduating school. So I'm very proud of myself. I'm going to be walking on the 13th of June. And yeah, I kind of feel like I've let go of a lot of regrets about school as well as I've moved towards the very end of it. I'm like, you know what? I did the best that I could. I've operated with all of the tools at my disposal at, you know, all the time. That's just what people do, is their best. And I am proud that that got me here. So fierce. What else? Checking my notes over here. My performance and the sound installation at PSU, those things are still happening. On the 4th of June, you can come see me, I think around 7 p.m. at the Rewire Festival at PSU. We're going to be doing a cool little like techie performance. And the sound installation will be open by then as well, which I think will be open through the week. And that's going to be, I've talked about a little bit, a cool little experience that you can come check out. So lovely. I had my performance with the Chump Band, or the like conductors ensemble, this last Thursday. And that was actually really fun as well. Well, not to get too deep immediately again, but there's just so much social weirdness for me that I've gone through, and a lot of just pivots and changes and stuff while I've been in school, which I guess is probably everybody's experience. I think everybody might be able to say like, oh, school wasn't quite what I expected, but friendships were difficult for me in school. And it was cool to be able to reconnect with some people that I felt disconnected from, basically. And it took a lot of bravery for me to I'm being kind of vague for my privacy, but it took a lot of bravery for me to show up to school as myself, and to, even though I felt embarrassed at times or ashamed of myself or ashamed of things that I said or did, I still showed up to school and did what was best for myself, and I'm really proud of that. And as a result of that, I feel like I was able to come around and have some restorative experiences this term, basically. And not like apologize either, which is a stark difference from experiences I've had in the past. Like, I'm not apologetic and regretful of my life right now, but yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, basically. It's been good to reconnect with some people on certain levels. I am looking for cars right now, which has been kind of exciting. I'm really into getting a Hyundai Elantra if I can, specifically like a 2016 Hyundai Elantra. So I'm manifesting this for myself. Or I could be down for a Honda, or maybe a Kia Rio, or something like that. Just like a little sedan that has good fuel economy. I kind of want something that's, well, I mean, I certainly want something that's not just going to break down. That's why I've gone a whole year just saving up money so that I can purchase a car, hopefully outright. But like, I'm not that rich. Like, maybe I'll put down a down payment and try to obtain a car loan. But yeah, I'm in the process of figuring out how that's going to go, which makes me feel like a big gal. Feel like an adult, which, yeah, it's very fierce. And I am excited for the possibility that that's going to bring me. This is just another layer and another reason that I would say that I'm really grateful for how everything is aligning in my life at the moment, because I didn't think a year ago, Mama, that I was going to be in a place where I could purchase a car right now. You know? Maybe it was more than a year ago that my car broke down, but like, still, yeah. That happened quicker than I thought. My last personal update before I move on to the advice segment of this episode is that I've been working on the film score with my colleague, Walter. Some students, like I've mentioned this a couple times now, I think, but some students from PSU hit us up collectively because Walter and I worked together on their last film and composed the music, which is super fun. That was called Jane and Julian. I'm hoping I can actually get a link to that or put it in my portfolio on my website so that y'all can watch that readily, because it's actually a really cool film and it's really scary, kind of. Like, the score we made is like very intense. So that would be kind of fun to be share around for you. And this one is going to be a little bit more lighthearted, which is fun. And I sat down and we mic'd up the piano with a couple of Neumann mics, and I just played the piano and we created kind of a rough draft for our score. And I think, honestly, it's so fun to have all those tools at my disposal at school right now. Like, I have these nice microphones and then there's a projector. And so we put the movie up. We were using Logic because my colleague Walter is a lot more familiar with Logic, which is a DAW, a digital audio workstation, and it's one of the proprietary Apple products, right? So, yeah, Logic is actually a really good DAW. It's pretty versatile and it's decent for movie editing. Well, not movie editing, but like doing the sound along to a film, because you can put a video file into the DAW and like score along to it. So that's what I've been doing. We put it in Logic onto a projector and then we mic up a piano, and I've just culminated skills. Like, I feel so proud of myself that I know enough music theory and like just have cool ideas, and I just know enough to just sit down and go, oh, well, let's do this. Like, that's kind of fierce. And yeah, it takes lots of tries, because honestly, I'm not perfect at playing the piano. I'm a pretty intermediate piano player, but like, I've gotten a lot better. So, scoring the movie, we're going to sit down a couple more times and compose some more music and start producing it and doing the sound design, but that's well on its way, and I'm excited to show you a finished result, hopefully, when it is done. Yay. So, with that, let's move on to the advice segment of this episode of Queer Abbey. Shut up. All right. Welcome to the advice segment of the 52nd episode of Queer Abbey. Welcome. Should I read this one in an Australian accent? I think so. I'm getting roasted by my friends and I hate it, Queer Abbey. I don't have any good comebacks, and whatever I say back, they just roast me more. I know you might say, that's just what friends do, but I'm starting to hate how they roast me, and I can't come up with good comebacks. I can't. Maybe if they roast me now and again, I find it funny, and not take it to heart. But not one day can go by without me getting clocked. I get clocked every single day, it seems. What would you do? That kind of turned like a little bit British at the end, but honestly, not bad. I'm going to read that again in an American language. I'm getting roasted by my friends and I hate it. I don't have any good comebacks, and whatever I say back, they just roast me more. I know you might say that's just what friends do, but I'm starting to hate how they all roast me, and I can't even come up with good comebacks. Maybe if they roast me now and again, I find it funny, and I won't take it to heart, but not one day can go by without me getting clocked. What would you do? All right, now that we've got that clear in both languages, well, I can't say that I relate, because part of my experience in life, and like part of what I said earlier, honestly, like, kind of trying to fit into the mold of people's expectations, I've always really spent a lot of energy thinking about what other people think is funny and like trying to be funny. And to some success, I am quick on my feet. You know, I would say that most of my friends would agree that's sort of a defining feature of mine, I guess. Like, I can't help it. Like, I can't really turn off my internal monologue. And sometimes I have a habit of saying things that are a little bit audacious. And I've learned to do that in service of my morals and in service of the things and connections that I want in life. And as opposed to it being like a clown show all the time, because that's not always helpful in life. I mean, sometimes you must be serious and you must stop and consider and think and not speak. And that's an important skill to have in life. But another skill in life is being quick, is being in the moment and taking things in and transmogrifying them and alchemizing them into something clever. And that's certainly something that is rampant in the gay community. Honestly, probably due to identity wounds. If I'm going to be so real, many gay people feel inadequate on the inside, and as a result, they take this very harsh lens on the world where they're not only harsh, well, we're not only harsh on ourselves, but like on other people as well. I mean, it sort of just carries all around in this circular way where like you read everything with this sharp tongue and this sort of steely, like sassy mindset. Right? And it's shade and it's reading and it's cunty, but it has its place. And so, like what you said and what you predicted I was going to say is true. It's certainly something that friends do, and it is a part of camaraderie to be silly with each other and to not tear each other down, but like make little fun comments. I mean, that is normal, seriously. But if you feel put down by people, you shouldn't feel afraid to say that, you know? I mean, even in the context of like kikiing with your gay friends and like, you're like, you're so funny, haha, you whore, you know? Like, I have a coworker who I love to like call her whore. I think it's funny. And we're both trans and it's cute. Like, it's our little key together. And she thinks it's funny. Like, she's laughing. It's not like some situation where I feel like I'm putting her down. I'm like, ew, you fucking whore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's cute and funny. So I would hope that your friends are watching and noticing how you feel and that you're actively participating, because your friends should not want you in the dirt. You know, like, they should not be trying to put you down in that kind of way. And if they are, you need to find better friends. That's the real answer. But you can also fucking think of funny things to say. Bitch, write them down. I think it's really funny to make comments about people's eyebrows. Does one of your friends have really far apart eyebrows? Like, maybe you could say that you need to like run the distance between her eyebrows to lose 5 pounds. Maybe they recently got divorced and you could make jokes about how they smell so bad that they drove their spouse out of house and home. Maybe you're like me and you haven't done the dishes in a week, and you can make jokes about like fucking being a hoarder and getting on 1,000-pound sisters because you eat ice cream in your bed sometimes. Cause that's, in order to read somebody, you have to understand them. I think maybe that's where you can start if you wanted to craft some reads. And I think that really truly roasting somebody is an art form because it requires that level of understanding. You must understand them enough to make a comment that's going to kind of cut deep and show them like, okay, baby, I understand what's going on, this whole charade that you're doing here. And when you can really read somebody in a way that like gets under their mask, it's kind of like an art form. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's why gay people are so honed into that, because we're so about masks and identity. You know, it's very centric and we fixate on those kinds of things because we're forced to. You know, it's a product of being basically having your head turned towards that screen and being like, oh my God, look at yourself in the mirror all the time and wonder like what's wrong with you. You know what I mean? That's pretty specific to the queer experience. But hey, this is called Queer Abbey, so be it. This is my fucking show and I'll talk about whatever I want. So once again, sorry your friends are roasting you, get better at roasting them back or find better friends. The next question asks, Queer Abbey, should I do this one in like an Northern England kind of accent, like maybe Irish, Scottish? Advice on probation drug test. I have a drug test on the 30th and I did smoke last night. I smoked 2 blunts, but I didn't hit them a lot. I didn't. I want to try the serotonin Gatorade method. I'm 5'7", 122 pounds. Any advice? So I don't get locked up. Okay. Let's read that one in American accent as well. Okay. Advice on probation drug test. I have a drug test on the 30th and I did smoke last night. I smoked 2 blunts, but I didn't hit them a lot. I want to try the Serto and Gatorade method. For anyone who doesn't know, that's like a mineral powder formula thing that you put in Gatorade and you drink like, it instructs you to drink like a gallon of water and then some Gatorade with the minerals in it. And basically it makes you pee so much that the temporary amount of liquid in your bladder, the liquid volume, like you pee all of it out because you basically force water through. And then you replace the minerals, like, because basically there's just water in your bladder then, like, that's just like, because you drink so much. And then you drink the minerals to top it off because it kind of emulates the mineral content of urine, right? Which kind of gross to think about. But that way, the test, when you pee into a cup, it doesn't immediately just register that it's just water, because it does actually detect the minerals that are naturally occurring in your urine, because like obviously they would know if it's just water. Like that's how they know. Okay, sidebar. I'm 5'7", 122 pounds. Any advice so I don't get locked up? Well, this one is a bit of a adventure. I'm gonna tell a story really quick before I give you my answer. Maybe it will reveal the answer, actually. When I was 17 years old, I got in legal trouble, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Which, yikes. I can't be contained, mama. I cannot be put in a container. And I was living in Idaho, and honey, I felt like I was in a box, and I acted out. I was driving around crazy, rolling blunts while driving with my knee, and driving all my friends around up the dirt road so that we could go smoke weed and drink and like do shrooms and get crazy and like do all these crazy things that are not advisable. You should not do those things. And for legal purposes, this is just all conjecture. This is just a story, a fantasy, really. So when I was 17, I was at school, and I used to bring all this marijuana to school. And I also had just purchased a vape, like one of those big ass box mods, and it like lit up rainbow. It was like expensive. It like cost me a paycheck. And so I had like vapes and fucking a lot of marijuana and papers and lighters and cigarettes and tobacco and like all this stuff in my car. And then I was late for class one day at high school. And so I parked near campus, like on campus. And I smelled like weed, and they were like, "Where's your car? We're going to search your car." Gag. And so then I like lied to them, and I was like, "I don't know, I don't have a car." And they were like, "Yes, you do. You have a parking permit." And I said, my friend drove me to school today. And they're like, "Oh, really? What friend?" I said, and so I said my friend who was already gone from school because it was like lunchtime and I knew she left like halfway through the day. So I said, my friend beep. And then they were like, "Okay." Well, and they thought they were all clever, like gonna go get her from class. And then they realized like, oh, she was gone already. And then They brought the nurse in to like do my blood pressure and like check my tongue and like look at my eyes and like shine lights in my eyes. And she was like, "You're high. I've concluded that you are under the influence of marijuana." And I said, "No." And then they arrested me, literally. And then I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "Take us to your car." And I did. And they found so much weed in there. And I got in trouble. And so, yeah, they like wrote me up some charges for possession and paraphernalia. And I had to do diversion for this. And so let me tell you, I have no motherfucking self-control because I stopped smoking weed for 1 month. But this diversion lasted, I think, 3 months. And I started smoking weed again after a month. Allegedly. And so I knew that when the day of reckoning came, they'd only piss test me, which this was like piss tested, like probably racial bias or something, because they only did one test at the very end. So that was fortunate. And I kind of like assumed they were going to do it that way. I don't know. But so I got pee from my friend at school in a water bottle. Thank you, Phoebe. And she literally pissed in a water bottle for me in the bathroom and gave it to me. And then I took it home and I kept it like airtight so that it wouldn't oxidize. I did so much fucking research about how I was going to accomplish this heist. So I knew I was going to have to fake it. So I obtained urine from somebody who did not smoke marijuana. I kept it safe and airtight. The next morning at 5 a.m, I woke up before my dad because he had to drive me to this fucking drug test. I cooked the urine in a pot. Sorry, Mom. I know, isn't that gross? I think I threw it away afterwards, though, which, you know, don't be mixing pots with piss. So I heated up the piss in a pot until it was like 100 degrees. And then I put it into, how did I even do all of this? I made a contraption with kids' straws, like, that are like bendy. And so I cut it to the length of my wee-wee. And then I super glued that to the bottom of my wee-wee. And then I poked the end of the straw into a condom. And I filled the condom with the urine that was warmed up, which was really weird, in a sensory kind of way. So I've got a urine bag, a condom that's full of pee. And then there's straws that I've like rubber banded them on there really tight. So I've made this little balloon contraption with a little spout. So then the straws get super glued to the bottom of my penis. I know, ouch. But I was like not going to go to jail. So then I sewed the pouch into the pouch of my underwear, like the pouch of urine. So I made this contraption and I actually practiced with water the night before. And then in the morning, I had the contraption ready to go. I heated up the piss. It's all coming back to me. It's all coming back to me now. I heated up the piss. I put it in there. I stitched the fucking condom into my underwear. Like this was prison break level type like contraption. So I've got my piss bag in my underwear. I super glued the straw to my pee-pee. And then I took something and I just plugged the end of it. So I was ready to go. The last step, I took hand warmers and I put them around, like under my ball sack to keep the piss warm. It's really important to keep the piss warm. So, because they'll know if you don't have the right minerals, if it's not the right temperature and you pee in that cup, they'll know. They'll be like, "So why'd you fake this drug test?" So I went. And my dad, who didn't even know any of this was going on, drove me there. I walk through, and it's like fucking as I'm walking. Crazy, I know. And then I get into the lab, and they watch you. They watch. There's a mirror above the toilet, and I'm like, "I'm a minor." And he's like, "Yeah, but you signed a waiver saying that we're entitled to look at your pee-pee when you're peeing, when you're going pee-pee." And so he did. This weirdo, watch, this light I think only stays on for a certain amount of time. Sometimes it turns off. It's so rude. Or maybe it was that guy. He telepathically turned it off because I talked about him looking at my wee-wee. So anyway, he looked and watched. And so I had to be real careful. And I had to like really just, I just kind of by sleight of hand uncapped the little straw. And then started squeezing my thighs together. And it worked. I pissed in the cup. And it was warm enough. It was real pee. There was no weed in it. And then they had a lady come in and actually look at it who was like apparently a pee expert. And she's all like looking at it and like, she goes, it's a little, what did she say? Oh, it's a little dark. It's a little dark. And I go, sorry, haven't had much water. Didn't drink very much water before this. And then she bought it. I passed my drug test and I made it through diversion. So you could just do that. Why don't you do that? You have access to some straws and a condom, some hand warmers. I'll lend you hand warmers. I'll send them to you so you can pull this off. Or you could stop smoking weed. That would probably be the most straightforward thing you could really do in this situation. Marijuana is fat soluble. I'll keep this tangent short. I really need to move on to the musical spotlight because it's a long episode. Marijuana is fat soluble. So when you smoke it, the THC, which stands for tetrahydral carbonate, the carbon breaks off from the molecule. It becomes decarboxylated by heat once it hits 160 degrees Fahrenheit or so. So basically your lighter is hotter than that. And so it breaks the carbon off and it becomes tetrahydral, which actually is a molecule that's really similar to some ones that go in just in your brain. And it reaches your blood-brain barrier through, like, it goes through your lung tissue to your blood to your brain. And then it gets in there, fucking hits your blood-brain barrier and gets you all stoned and high. But then it binds as a byproduct, it binds to your fat cells, right? And that's how they can tell when they drug test you, because as you constantly metabolize these fat cells over like a month or 2 months, like a long time, you metabolize that fat and it releases through your liver into your urine. Oh my God, this light is not working. Do you hate tranny? Oh, I didn't say that. So yeah, it's up in your fat cells, baby. You can't just piss it out. You can't just drink a bunch of water like it's alcohol or like some other drug that just is like water soluble, because those ones you pee out pretty quickly. Not the marijuana. Sorry about it. So best of luck to you. I really hope that you don't get in trouble, because honestly, what a fucking dumb thing that you can get in legal trouble for smoking a plant. It really is just, I mean, it sounds simple because it is simple. Like, yeah, that should not be that should be up to your own personal governance, and that should be your sovereignty that you have to do those things. I think that people should be able to do meth if they want to, but they should also have all of the resources to stop. Our society should not be geared towards punishing people for the issues that they have as a result of living in society. It's crazy the way that we think, and punish people for being homeless or taking up space or whatever, for smoking weed. God forbid. So bless you. And I'm sorry that that's happening to you, Diva. With that, let's move on to the last segment because I'm droning on here. All right. Welcome to the best segment of Queer Abbey, which is the musical spotlight. This week, I have a treat for all of you. Featured before on the Queer Abbey podcast is the songstress, the poet, the photographer, the producer, the all-around just kind of diva, Veana Baby. She is a Portland local. She has been featured in the Willamette Weekly, the Portland Mercury. She has gone viral on TikTok. She's kind of a big deal. I met her at Momo's through my friend Katie. And I've just been a big fan of her ever since looking her up and seeing that she's such a fantastic musician. We have featured Pillow Talkin' by Veana Baby. That wasn't even that long ago, really, which is just like a very fun song. It's a little bit silly, a little bit spiteful, this kind of lo-fi neo-soul kind of vibe. And so a more recent release from her that we will be celebrating this week is called To Love Right, which in a similar sort of lyrical vein, I would say. This one's really about self-empowerment, about self-love, about boundaries, about manifesting the things that are for you. And I feel like it was actually a really good fit for the things that I ended up talking about this week, which wasn't really on purpose, but thank you, Veana. She's just a witch. She's psychic. So, I think that you'll love Veana's gorgeous production, her gorgeous voice, her lovely lyricism, and just she's been powerhouse for making all of this stuff. Let's get into it without too much further ado, and you'll see how much you love it too. This is going to be To Love Right by Veana Baby.
What's meant for me will always flow, will always grow in my garden. What's meant for me will always flow. No need to force what I already know. There's love in my body, love in my heart to give. I am somebody made with the source within. And if you choose to hesitate, please don't ever come my way, 'cause I want to love. I wanna be loved right. I wanna be loved. I want to love. I wanna be loved right. To love right. To love right. To love right. To love right. To move right. I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm alright. I want to love and be loved. I wanna be loved right. To love right. I wanna be loved right. I want to love. I wanna be loved right. To love right. I want to love. Wanted love. Wanted love. Wanted love. Wanted love. I want to love. I wanna be loved right.
All right. I hope that you enjoyed To Love Right by Veana Baby as much as I did. As always, I will provide a link to Veana Baby's social information in the description of this episode. Veana has a really awesome website, a little portfolio, so I'll go ahead and link that. And you can find all of their stuff from there just by searching Veana Baby. Look them up. Look her up on Instagram. Look her up on Apple Music or SoundCloud. I think I already said Instagram. Yeah. And if you wanted to be featured on the podcast, if you have lovely music like Veana and you want to, like, that's a high bar to set. It doesn't have to be that good. If you have lovely music and you want to share it on Queer Abbey, you can reach out to us via our email, which is queerabbey@gmail.com. That's queerabbey@gmail.com. You can use our phone number, which is 503-567-2053, or you can use the anonymous inbox if you were looking for some advice, you want to have a question, a query, a quandary answered. Go ahead and hit us up that way. Use the Google Forms, and it's completely anonymous. You can just hit us up that way, and I will read that, and I will answer it here for your entertainment. Yeah, I love it, y'all. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, this journey. It rocks. And it rocks? What rocks, bitch? This situation, my life, this podcast, it that all rocks. And you rock. So that will conclude the 52nd episode, and I will see you next week for another episode of Queer Abbey. Goodbye.